All right, what's up, everybody? This is the Pep Man, Matt Morrow, debuting something new. We're going to call it Friday Night Live. What Friday Night Live is, we just going to talk about what we saw tonight in high school football. If you follow me on Twitter at PepMan704, I'm going to post a link right now, and we're just going to call this. We're just getting this up real quick. So if you click this link that's going up on my Twitter right now, you can come on the show. You can talk about your team. If you're a player that did something tonight, this is your free opportunity to come on here, talk about what you did, what your team did tonight. If you're a coach and you want to talk about what your team did, feel free to click that link. Just posted it on my Twitter at Petman704. Click that link. It'll bring you into the studio, and let's have a conversation. I'll give you a chance to, talk about your team, talk about, what you guys did tonight. Or if you're a fan and you just want to talk about what, you saw in high school football tonight, this is your opportunity to go ahead and click that link. It's on Twitter, Petman704. I see some comments being said on Twitter. Hey, you see that link, click that link. Let's have a conversation, man. This is your show. But, I am going to talk about, what we got on the scoreboard tonight. I see questions about, Harding, Archie Kill. I can't really, comment on that situation right now because I don't know all the details. But I don't think they played tonight. So there you go. All right. So anyway, games that did happen tonight. Of course, the big story is Lake Norman. Lake Norman defeating Mallard Creek 29-24 tonight. What a great win for that Lake Norman program. Going back to what we were talking about on the show, we felt like this was a game that, could be interesting just because Lake Norman has a lot of, great senior leadership. They have, really good coaching. And, of course, they run a system, that is tough to, defend and it's tough to prepare for in a week. And I'll tell you something else about this. We used to say this about Independence back in the day. It's tough when you're playing a team like Vance, and then that next game, you can't let, that game beat you twice. It's what we used to say when we played Tom Knott's and Independence and those strong teams all the time. And, I'm not sure if that's the case here, but it's tough to, kind of recover, from a really physical game, against a team like Vance and going up against another really physical team in Lake Norman. And, hats off to Lake Norman and Coach Oliphant doing a great job, pulling off this victory, going to 2-0. And, they've got another big game next week going up against Huff. So, Mallard Creek being 0-2, the first thing is, if you're in their shoes, the season isn't over yet. You still got at least 5 games, and you don't know, what's going to happen in conference play with the rest of these teams. So you may still have a shot of, winning out, going to the playoffs and, still doing big things. So, the season is not lost. But you're going to have a lot of people, talking and, wondering what's going on. And, as long as you stay within yourselves and stay within, your own locker room, you'll come out, strong on the other side. Once again, if you're just tuning in, this is Friday Night Live. This is an open opportunity for anyone to join the show. I posted a link on my Twitter page at Petman704. If you click that link, you can join the show, join me in conversation, talk about your team. If you're a player and you want to talk about what you guys did tonight, feel free to click that link. It'll bring you right in. If you're a fan, you just want to talk high school football, click that link. It'll bring you right in as well. All right. So once again, Lake Norman big win over Mallard Creek 29-24. That's the big story tonight. But, of course, we had a lot of games that we're, we want to discuss. So A.L. Brown, Central Cabarrus, what a game that was. A.L. Brown winning over Central Cabarrus 30-29 in double overtime. our Kenny McClamrock was there. He was giving us updates. You know, you know, and I'll share this that our show, video was, apparently kind of cut up and, shared with some people, and we don't mind that. That's cool. We just, give our, honest opinions about, games and matchups. And trust me, we are not always right. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of games that, I picked that I was wrong about. I'll talk about that in a second. But, that's a great win for A.L. Brown. And for Central Cabarrus, I mean, I know it's hard to believe in moral victories, but I mean, what a, gutty performance by that team. Last week, they had a overtime win by 1 point against Concord, and then 1 point double overtime loss to A.L. Brown. So, I mean, what does that say about the SPC other than, and I say SPC, South Piedmont Conference, but what does that say other than that conference is freaking wide open? And you don't know what you're going to get. And I mean, we know A.L. Brown Concord is a great, matchup, and, possibly the Bell game could be interesting this year. So, that's really, really something to watch up in Cabarrus County. But, once again, great win for Coach Newsom and those guys pulling that game out and at Central Cabarrus, which, typically is a tough place to play, but with our limited fan capacity, it's, not as, it's not the same environment. It's not the same environment, plain and simple. All right, let's go down the list here. Providence defeated Berry 27-7. That was a game that was a prediction game for us. I felt like that game was kind of, going to be nip and tuck back and forth a little bit. But, Providence asserted themselves. I saw they got up 14-0 in the first quarter in that game. And then, a team like that, they get up 14-0. They just, are going to, lay on you, run the football, control the clock. And, I'm sure that's pretty much what happened there, given the score. Berry falls to 1-1, and offensively they got a little bit of questions they got to answer there, and see how they move forward. Concord defeating Central Academy 41-7. That's a good win for Concord to go to 1-1 on the season. I remember we kind of talked about that game on the show. Central Academy only had a JV program last year, so they're moving up the varsity this year. It's kind of a big step up in 1 year to take. So it's going to take, a little bit of time for that to come together. But good win for Coach Paxton. He came on the show before. It's a good guy. And congrats to those guys for getting a big win. Myers Park 35, Rocky River 9. Myers Park going to 2-0 on the season. Another good win for them at home. Rocky River found a little bit of offense, scoring 9 points, but they still got to work on that side of the ball a little bit more. Interim coach Mark Harmon, shout out to him, man. Great 2-0 start over there, and business will pick up a little bit as the season goes on in conference play, as they start to face some of the top teams in that league. But Myers Park so far not missing a beat in the Southwestern 4A. So great job of them. Once again, if you're just tuning in, this is Friday Night Live. Pet Man Matt Morrow here. We're just talking football, man. We're just, talking football, and we're giving you the opportunity to join the show. This is wide open for anyone. I posted the link on my Twitter at Petman704. If you follow me on Twitter, click that link, join the show. It'll bring you right into the studio. This is an open opportunity for anyone that wants to join the show. Feel free to do that. I'll also post this on Facebook because I know a lot of you watch us on Facebook. Let me get over to that page real quick. But all we're doing is we're just talking football, man. We're talking about the scores from the games and a lot more, and just giving my off-the-cuff opinion without really, kind of digging in and looking at video, stuff I typically do to prepare for the weekly show, Football Focus Weekly, every week. So I'm going to post this link on Facebook right here, and I'm also going to post it in the comments. And that should be able to bring you into the show right here. So it's up on Facebook. You go to Charlotte Football Insiders Facebook page, click that link, the StreamYard.com link. That will bring you right into the studio. And here's the link on the comments. And Weddington Catholic, I'm going to get to that in just a second. As soon as I post this link right here. And it'll be in the comments if you're watching the show. And there you go. All right. So Weddington Catholic, let's talk about that. Weddington won that game 7-3 over Charlotte Catholic. Our Justin Adams was there. He'll have, a lot of information to share on the live show this week. But obviously, 7-3 game, talking about defense. 2 championship level defenses going at it. Last year, Weddington, kind of blew, Catholic out of the water down there in Union County. But, obviously this year, Catholic very motivated. Great effort on defense. But they got that early field goal for a 3-0 lead. But they couldn't get anything else after that. Weddington sealed the game with the interception with a little over a minute left in the game. That game was the spring season's game of the week. They streamed that game for free. So I'm sure, some of you may have, saw that if you didn't venture out tonight to your local high school stadium. But once again, both of those teams showing they're going to be strong contenders in 3A. But Weddington getting the win gives them a leg up, in conference play. And that's pretty much, the only way you get into the playoffs is through your conference. Top 2 teams primarily will be the ones that get into the conference. So, for Catholic now, smaller margin for error if they want to get into playoffs. That's a really tough conference down there in Union County. And, you lose 2 games, you might be out of it. So, 2 great coaches in Andy Capone and Mike Brodowitz, heavyweight fight. But Weddington was able to pull that game out 7-3. And, like I said, they've got the upper hand in terms of going to the playoffs because they'll be, leading the conference or tied for the lead with the conference. I know Cuthbertson got another big win. Shout out to Coach Kavanaugh and those guys down there being 2-0 as well on the season. Our buddy Joe Hughes stepping over to Gaston County. South Point defeated East Gaston 44-6 in the game. He was covering. Good win for South Point. East Gaston still struggling a little bit. They got a new coach in there trying to build that program up. But that's a good bounce back for South Point after they lost to Burns 28-27 last week when they went for 2 and couldn't get it. So South Point going to 1-1 on the season. Our Cherie Glenn was down at Porter Ridge in Union County. Butler defeated Porter Ridge 42-21. That was a game that we thought might get a little interesting. Didn't really go that way. Butler kind of asserted themselves more towards end of second quarter, early third quarter, according to the report Cherie was giving. Porter Ridge came back and made that game a little closer. I think Butler was leading that game 35-6 at one point. Davion Nelson, running back, had another big game for the Bulldogs, multiple touchdowns. I know Jake Snap, number 11 for Butler, got in the end zone once again. So another great performance for the Bulldogs, and they're trucking along, and it seems like that Butler-Myers Park trains are going to collide once again in the Southwestern 4A. But, there'll be some other teams in that Southwestern 4A that say something about it. One of those teams being Hickory Ridge. Hickory Ridge last week, got a win over Independence 7-6. But this week against Garinger, they got the offense going, putting up 46 points, big win over Garinger, 46-0. Jupiter Wilson, going to 2-0 on the season. Great coach in many sports, doing a great job for those guys up in Cabarrus County. Shout out to those guys. And shout out to Garinger too. I mean, this now last week they had the other head coach who quit right before the game. So this week they had the interim head coach. His first game, obviously, leading the Wildcats, and let's just hope that they get a little bit of stability, for the rest of the season, and they're getting a lot of support. If you guys didn't see the story, Coach Jason Seidel of Blythewood High School near Columbia, South Carolina, is going to help those guys out. They're they're providing a pregame meal with along with the help of Garinger alumni. And then the Blythewood coaches are going to come up next week for Garinger's game against Wesmec and support those guys, give them some fans, and make it feel like a real, a little bit of a environment, So that's pretty cool. That's a great thing right there. Speaking of Wesmec, they had a really good game tonight. They played Independence. They led that game for a while. I believe the score was 9-7 for a while. And Independence ended up getting a touchdown later in that game, and they held on to win. They defeated Wesmec 15-9. So, once again, the Independence defense is showing in these first 2 weeks against Hickory Ridge and Wesmec, they're a really strong defense and playing well. Which is a good sign. It's a good sign because typically, we always talk about, how, teams would prepare this offseason, extended offseason. And typically your defense is ahead of your offense because your offense, there's, a lot more intricacies and, things you have to work on. And, I know the Independence Patriots are working through that right now. But, defensively, Coach Natoli's doing a good job with those guys. So, with that win, Independence moves to 1-1 on the season. Wesmec, falling to 0-2. But a good effort from both of those teams. That's good stuff. So once again, if you're just tuning in, this is Friday Night Live. First time that we've done this, Pep Man Matt Morrow, and we're just talking about scores, Charlotte Metro area football scores. If you want to come on the show, I've posted the link on my Twitter at PetMan704. I posted the link in the comments on the show here, that if you're watching live, you'll be able to see those comments. And posted it on the Facebook page of Charlotte Football Insiders. If you want to come on the show, talk about what your team did. If you're a coach watching this, you want to come on the show, talking about what your team did. If you're a player watching this, you want to come on the show, talking about what you did tonight. Or if you're one of the fans watching, you want to come on the show and talk about, what you saw tonight. And you got some observations. Feel free to click that link. It won't bring you on live. It'll bring you on backstage. Maybe I think some of you guys are nervous. It won't bring you on live. It'll bring you on backstage. If I'll see it, and then if you're ready, then I'll bring you on, and we'll just have a little talk. So there you go. I see some of the comments on the side here. Lake Norman might be top 2 in the IMEC, and we'll talk about that here as soon as we get through some of those scores. I'll kind of run down, how I kind of see the conferences right now. Just a rapid response. We still have some games to play tomorrow, but that's what we're doing on Friday night live. All right, let's keep going. West Charlotte defeated North Mech 24-12. This is Sam Greiner's first win at West Charlotte. Of course, our buddy Shea Butter Billups, congratulations to you and those guys off of Beatty's Ford for getting that win. North Mech, this was North Mech's first game. They did not have a game last week. So North Mech getting their feet wet. Look, and that was a pretty competitive game. I know West Charlotte, I think they had a 2-touchdown lead for the majority of that game. But kudos to North Mech for getting that week 1 for them rust off of them, and playing a competitive game against a West Charlotte team that has some good talent for sure. So congratulations once again to the Lions for moving to 1-1 on the season. All right, game me and Brandon covered tonight. Olympic defeated South Mech 28-3. The biggest thing I want to talk about here is the Olympic quarterback, Sean Bowles. Sean Bowles accounted for every touchdown Olympic had. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground. He had 2 touchdowns passing. One of his touchdown passes to KJ Hicklin, number 6, and the other to Cam Smith, number 21, out of the backfield. And then he had 2 rushing touchdowns. And I mean, he's literally a bowling ball. I mean, it's not often that you see quarterbacks, run over people. I mean, his performance was, just dominant on the offensive side of football. And I couldn't get an interview with him live. I hope to talk to him remotely this week. I know he was pretty tired after the game. I, tried to find him, and they said he was on the bus. Heck of a game for Sean, and he deserved to, sit down and rest after that one. But we did talk to Kai Russell, and Kai Russell is a defensive end who wears number 9 for the Trojans. And I'm telling you, you talking about men amongst boys. That's what he looked like tonight. He had several sacks. I can't remember how many. At least 2. Multiple tackles in the backfield. I mean, he was unblockable at times. That interview is up on our Twitter page. It's on Instagram. He follows us there at Charlotte Football Insiders. It's also on our Facebook page, so check him out. He's going to be a great player at the next level, and we'll see if we can get him in the Queen City Senior Bowl, which I'm going to talk about, in a little bit as well. All right, let's move on down the list. West Cabarrus defeating Cox Mills 16-0. First win in school history for West Cabarrus, and congratulations to Coach Gentry and those guys. And our Kenny McClamrock had predicted that that would probably happen in his breakdown of the game earlier this week on Football Focus Weekly. One of the things he said about West Cabarrus was they had really good size, and of course, with Coach Gentry coming over from Northwest Cabarrus, they're well coached. So great job, the West Cabarrus. Congratulations on getting your first win. Once again, I'm going to keep saying it. Friday Night Live, because this is the first time, people may be clicking on and saying, what is Pet Man doing? So all we're doing is we're talking about the scores, and we're talking about the games. We're talking about some observations that we've seen from tonight's action, just real rapid reactions, not any, real depth video research, things of that nature. I see our buddy Kyle on Highneck Live Scores. His name's Kyle, I'm sorry. But he wants to shout out Krishawn Shepard, huge kickoff return for touchdown. I saw the video on that, did retweet that. It was a heck of a play. He's trying to get him to come on live and talk about it. The invitation is open for anybody. Players, coaches, fans, anyone, feel free to share that link that's posted in the comments. Also posted on Twitter, also posted on Facebook. We're open. You want to come on, you want to talk, you feel like you don't get any shine, this is your time to shine. It's an open line. We'll take anyone that's willing to talk about their experience tonight. All right, so on down the line, let's and I bet you Kyle didn't want me to talk about this game, but we got to do it. Huff defeating Mooresville 37-6. There's a lot of talk going into this game. It's a rival game, up in that area, but, two schools that don't like each other. And there was a lot of talk about Huff last week. Huff, defeating Hopewell 7-0. A lot of people asking questions about, what's wrong, with the Huff, offense and things like that. They showed this week that, if there was an issue, it got fixed. So they showed that for sure. Putting up 37 points against a Mooresville team that, I felt like, was definitely right in the middle of the IMAC. And if things went well, they could possibly push towards that upper tier. But, once again, as we said with North Mech, this was Mooresville's first game, this week. So, as we said last week, there was a lot of, rust and shell shock and things like that. And, if you played last week, you're playing a team that didn't play last week, you have a good advantage for sure. And, now Mooresville will be able to come back now. They're only 0-1. So, that, is a good thing, looking in terms of if they want to, try to push for the playoffs or something like that. There's still time, but, 37-6, that means, they've got to, shore up a good bit of things on both sides of the football. And I'm sure they'll play a lot better next week, with some film to analyze. And, Coach Nixon and those guys, are good guys, and they'll work through that for sure. All right. I got an update. I didn't see this score, but I just found out North Lincoln defeating Wesmec 34-0. It was a little bit of a surprise. I know North Lincoln is a real, well-coached team with Nick Basil and, those guys up there. I felt like Wesmec's, athletes and offense would give them a little bit of an issue, but, kudos to North Lincoln. That's a big win for them, knocking off a team, in here in Charlotte, a bigger, school, 3A size school, but it's still bigger than, what they typically are. So great job, North Lincoln, on that. Crest defeating Stuart Kramer out of Gaston County, 55-24. That game was close for the first half. I think Crest had maybe a 1 touchdown lead at the half, and some people were kind of looking what's going on there. But obviously, halftime Crest got whatever they needed to get fixed, and they kind of put the gas to the pedal in the second half, and won that game in a comfortable fashion. 2-0 on the season, defeating Forest View and now Stuart Kramer. I'm sure, Timothy Ruff had another great game, the kind of the quarterback / athlete for the Crest Chargers. Kind of makes that engine go down there. So good job for those guys. Once again, if you're just clicking on and wondering, it's Friday Night Live. First time we've ever done it. Pep Man, Matt Maher, we're just giving you a rapid reaction to all the scores that are coming in, from games that have played tonight, and just giving you some kind of instant analysis. Link is posted in the comments. If you're watching it live, you can see the comments. Click that link. You have the chance to come on and talk about your team. The game. Now, I got roasted for this. So we did predictions on Football Focus Weekly, and the panel that did predictions, the Queen, producer Brandon, and we had who do we have? We had someone, Coach Billups. Yeah, Coach Billups. They all predicted J.M. Robinson to beat Northwest Cabarrus. So, I was the last one to go, and I said, hey, I believe in, Northwest Cabarrus. I think they can, give them a game. So J.M. Robinson went out and defeated Northwest Cabarrus 45-7. And, all I've been hearing besides, the Lake Norman stuff in my personal, ats and all that was you should have picked J.M. Robinson. And, my former coaching buddy, Phil Johnson, had to roast me on Facebook and tag me with a whole bunch of people saying that, I should have picked J.M. Robinson. I know his son Caleb, plays for J.M. Robinson. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got something special for y'all on Football Focus Weekly next week. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you tune in for that, because it'll be a special tribute because I got something wrong. Believe it or not, I am wrong, a good bit of the time too. So let's post some comments, from you guys. Let's see. Kyle said earlier the lake is rising. Also, some information about Lake Norman Wildcats came from being down 24-15 mid fourth quarter to win. A lot of heart. Let's see. Mallard Creek from Keith Booker. Mallard Creek losing to a pretty good Lake Norman team. And Kyle talking about when I was talking about Huff Mooresville, what happens in Cornelius stays in Cornelius. I'm sorry, Kyle. I'm sorry. Karen Belt, congrats to West Charlotte and Sam Griner and staff. Yep. Sam Griner is a really good guy. Of course, covered him from the Harding championship run a couple years ago. Stand-up dude. Great job, to the Lions and, Coach Griner and his staff, including the illustrious Coach Billups. Score for Indy Wesmec. We talked about that game a few minutes ago, Karen. Independence won that game 15-9. Wesmec had a lead late into that second half, but Independence scored a late touchdown to win that game 15-9. So there's your score right there. All right. Huff won by 10 points last year, 31 this year. Gorilla Glue time for the haters. All right. Well, thank you, Wee Pooh McWilliams, for that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Mooresville advance next week. We'll talk about next week's games briefly here in just a second. I just want to give, a little bit of kind of a view, and I don't have my graphics set up this week, but I'll just kind of talk through it. So if you're looking at rankings in the conference, and this is what the key is this year, there are not many non-conference games, but everyone's playing 7 games, so that's an even slate. If you're looking at the playoffs, you got to be in the top 2 seeds in your conference to ensure you have a playoff spot. So that's your goal here. Right now in the conferences we cover, you're looking at the South Piedmont Conference. We know A.L. Brown, has got 2 wins in that conference. And then you start looking at other teams here, and I'm just going to look at my little cheat sheet here on the side. But you start looking at other teams in the SPC. I don't know if you can have a clear, runaway leader here. I mean, A.O. Brown, that game with Central Cabarrus was close. As we said, Central Cabarrus defeated Concord by 1. Northwest Cabarrus 0-2. Cox Mill 0-2. West Cabarrus at 1-1, and then J.M. Robinson 2-0. So you're looking at, a J.M. Robinson, A.O. Brown situation right now. If the playoffs were to start, hypothetically, right now, but of course we got 5 more weeks. But just to give you a quick snapshot of what you might be looking at, that's what you got right there. I haven't seen an Ashbrook Forest View score. I was trying to find one. I hadn't seen one. But in Gaston County, South Point bounced back to go to 1-1. Crest is 2-0. I know Kings Mountain was looking for a game because their game against North Gaston got postponed. I hadn't seen a Mountain Island score, but they played Christ the King. I feel like Mountain Island, probably won that game there. So those are your top teams in Gaston County right now. Karen, how did Butler do? Butler won over Porter Ridge 42-21. Our Cherie Glenn was there. Butler had a pretty big lead in that game. Porter Ridge came back, scored a couple times late to make it, a little closer. But, Butler controlled that game. So Butler is 2-0 as well. But while we're talking about the Southwestern Conference, you got, 3 teams in that Southwest that look really good. I mean, you got Butler, you got Myers Park, and you got Hickory Ridge on top of that conference right now. So, you're looking at that and you're thinking, okay, one of those teams, may not make the playoffs because, as we said, you want to look at the top 2 teams in the league for playoff, eligibility. So that's going to be a really good race right there. You guys are excited, man. Real Caleb, talk more about Lake Norman MC, the biggest upset in North Carolina. Yeah, we talked a good bit about it, starting out, this, new show that we're doing Friday Night Live. And like I said, the big thing about it is, Lake Norman has seniors. I remember, going up to Lake Norman and talking with Coach Oliphant, a couple years ago, I think 2 years ago now. And he was excited about this group. And, he said when this group, gets to the point that they're, juniors and seniors, they're going to do some special things, and, this is the first indicator, of the capabilities of that group. And, I interviewed a lot of those kids back then. I interviewed a Krishan Shepard, interviewed a Will Kobucheski. I'm trying to think of, more names of Peyton Davis on the offensive line. And talking to those kids, they're confident kids. And, sometimes, up at Lake Norman playing in the IMAC, everyone thinks about, Vance. Everyone thinks about Mallard Creek. Everyone thinks about Huff. You talk about IMAC, those are the teams you're thinking about. And, I don't want to say they're under the radar, but, they play good football. And, when you run a system, like they run in the triple option type stuff, it's hard to prepare for. And, I mean, you go from, a spread team like Vance that has power capabilities to running, going up against the triple. Your defense, that's you almost have to reset your way of thinking because, everything that you're doing one week, you have to kind of flip and do different things and different formations and sets, and it's not easy. It's not easy, and I know that's something Lake Norman typically uses to their advantage. And one of the things that you love about high school football is you can have a team with a ton of talent, but when you have seniors that have been through the wars, that know how to lead, that know what to do when the game is tight, it's one of the best feelings as a coach. And Lake Norman was in that situation. I remember seeing the tweet, 2:42 left, they got the ball back, and they were down, and they had to drive and get that touchdown to win the game. And I mean, that's what every time you look at a football movie, that's the kind of situations that you love. You got the ball, you got that chance to go down and win the game. Or if you're a defensive guy, you got a chance to end the game on defense and stop them, from getting that game-winning touchdown. And they got it. They got it with 11 seconds left. And, a team like that, led with that kind of leadership, is awesome. It's awesome to see. And they're homegrown kids, It's not a situation where a lot of kids came in from different places and, that kind of thing. That they work hard. They work hard. And, every time I go to Lake Norman, even back when Coach McNulty was there, who went down to South Carolina, the culture was, to work hard and, you'll get what you deserve. And, that's where they are. Little history about Lake Norman and Mallard Creek. These guys met in the playoffs, a couple years ago. Well, I shouldn't say a few years ago. And, there was a big game. And I remember, back in the day, I was at another site, and they had the quarterback, Josh Ladowski. And Ladowski is a treasured name, in the Lake Norman area. And he was putting up crazy video game numbers. And they had a great playoff game that Mallard Creek, of course, ended up winning. But it was a good game. And, so these teams have had some history before. Looks like we got somebody, ready to come on the show named Kobe. Let's see if we can bring Kobe on and see what they want to talk about. All right, Kobe, are you with us?
I am, Pet Man. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I was at that Lake Norman game tonight, and I want to tell you the atmosphere was electric. The kids were fired up. And every time Mallard Creek took the lead and it seemed like the momentum swung their way, the Lake Norman kids found a way to make a huge stop or a huge offensive play to swing the momentum back, and they just would not quit.
Man, that is awesome. So even with the reduced capacity, there was a great atmosphere there?
It was absolutely electric. A ton of Mallard Creek fans showed up. Lake Norman sold out their allotment. There was 500 at least with some extra press. So it was a really good atmosphere. The athletic director, Jay Keener, did a great job. But listen, you and Langston Wirtz and you gotta give some credit to Lake Norman's offensive line, who paved the way for junior Caleb Douthat to just churn out some huge yards. In fact, scoring from on a 3rd and 8, I want to say, scoring the go-ahead touchdown, it just shocked Mallard Creek. They couldn't believe it. And one other thing that one other play that was a turning point, I think. Okay, Mallard Creek had the ball at the 49-yard line, 4th and 1. They bring out the punting unit, and then they call timeout. They go back, and you could tell in the stands that they were going to come back and go for it. This was with 3 minutes left in the 4th quarter. You could tell if they get this first down, the game's over. They're going to run out the clock.
Yeah.
our guys were a little bit disheveled. You weren't sure if they knew. We thought they were going to punt. Next thing you know, our guys run right up and play the game. The defensive line stuffed them for no gain, turn the ball over. Well, huge momentum shift back to Lake Norman. 3 minutes left on the 49-yard line, and then of course they went in to score the winning touchdown. So there were so many huge moments in that game.
Man, that's awesome. I remember seeing, that was going to be a controversial point of Mallard Creek deciding to go for that fourth down. But hey, I mean, you gotta play to win, and in that situation, you make that kind of decision. And a lot of people say, you trust your offense and you're making that decision, but you're also trusting your defense because in that, you're getting that great field position right there. And you give a team like Lake Norman, who is a run first team, great field position, if you don't get it, it's a big advantage. So, that's a great job for that Lake Norman defensive line stepping up. And I'm telling you, I played offensive line, I coached offensive line. We have shouted out that Lake Norman offensive line so much throughout this extended off season. I mean, Peyton Davis, the big Johnson kid,
Jake Johnson.
Yep. We had him on there, and Luke Braswell also. We had him on the preseason IMEC All Conference team. So
Big Daddy Braswell.
Oh, yeah.
There was another big play. Again, third down.
Mm-hmm.
I think we took a loss in second down. Now it's third and long. Time's running out. They bring out a defensive back, Chris Sean, the Magic Man, and hit him for a pass to get the first down, move the chains, and kept it going. Again, every time you thought, all right, Lake Norman's on their last hope here, something big happens. And like I said, the fans were going wild. The players were going wild and kept it going and finally finished the deal. So, by the way, this should put to rest all the Mallard Creek people who thought the JV win 2 years ago was tainted because of a tornado watch. we never need to hear about that again because this senior class of 2021 did it again.
Wow. Kobe, thank you for coming on, man. You're the first ever guest on Friday Night Live, so thank you for making history.
I'm gonna come on every week now, man. Every week I'm coming on.
Hey, all right. We got that
dog. By the way, about half the players are at my house, so they're celebrating.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Good stuff. Congratulations, guys. That's an awesome victory, man.
Thank you. The whole team's listening. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Pat-Man, for all you do.
Thank you, and we'll be up at Lake Norman soon. I promise.
You better be there this Friday night, man.
Now I'm gonna get myself in trouble.
No. Yeah, all you want to do is go down to Weddington or Charlotte Catholic and kiss that South Charlotte booty.
That's not true. Now,
kiss that South Charlotte booty. You come up to the lake. All right.
I got y'all. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, so that's Kobe and some of the Lake Norman players. That's awesome. So we've been on 43 minutes. It's midnight. So this was the first ever Friday Night Live, and this is awesome. Thank you all you guys for watching. We're gonna do this every week. So get in the habit of seeing this and talking about your teams, talking about your scores, and I want everyone. If you want to come on and talk just like Kobe and the Lake Norman guys did, feel free to do that. But we're signing off. We'll see you next week on Football Focus Weekly, Wednesday nights, 7:30 p.m. Good night, everybody.